When you think about it, superheroes and video games should go hand in hand. Gaming icons like Mario and Samus might not be classified as superheroes, but they basically have the powers and the tools needed to join the ranks. But for a multitude of reasons, costumed heroes haven't always made a seamless transition from the printed page to consoles. Don't get us wrong, there's plenty of amazing superhero games out there, but for every Spider-Man 2, X-Men the arcade game, or Marvel vs. Capcom, there's Aquaman, Battle for Atlantis, Spawn the Eternal, no, we've actually already talked about that one. There's a whole video, actually. Before we begin, be sure to subscribe to MojoPlays and click on the links in the description to vote on upcoming content. Of all the comic book superheroes, Batman arguably has the best gaming track record. Actually, it's interesting to think about how Batman's big screen adventures have paralleled his video game outings. Batman on the NES was a worthy counterpart to Tim Burton's 1989 movie, standing out as a rare licensed video game that didn't totally suck. Much like how the film franchise started to go downhill though, so did the game adaptations. To be fair, we'd rather play the video game versions of Batman Forever or Batman and Robin than 2003's Batman Dark Tomorrow. After hitting an all-time low with that disaster, the Caped Crusader needed a hero more than ever. Fortunately, developer Rocksteady Studios answered the call with Batman Arkham Asylum.
Hey, Sharpie. Love what you've done with the place.
This 2009 action-adventure not only emerged as the best Batman game to date, but definitely the best superhero game period. It immersed the player in a haunting setting with slick combat, inventive puzzles, and plenty of collectibles to keep you coming back after the credits rolled. Just as Christopher Nolan breathed new life into the movie franchise with Batman Begins,
I'm Batman.
Rocksteady had pulled off the gaming equivalent with Batman Arkham Asylum. Of course, Batman Begins was practically a dress rehearsal when stacked up against its follow-up, The Dark Knight.
Wanna know how I got these scars?
And likewise, Rocksteady managed to perfect what already seemed perfect in 2011's Batman Arkham City.
Protocol 10? Never heard of it.
In the first game, Batman felt a bit like a rat caught in a claustrophobic maze. Now that he's escaped the maze, Batman is free to explore a vast open world with more diverse enemies, more involving side missions, and Easter eggs galore. The developers also made some welcome tweaks to detective vision, so the players wouldn't spend most of the game looking in X-ray mode. And believe us, this is a game where you want to stop and appreciate the scenery. Arkham City itself is a visual marvel that flawlessly blends the gothic grit of what we think Gotham should be, with the playful madness of Wonderland.
Fear. That's how we get respect. Show them all that we do things.
Part of what made Arkham City and Arkham Asylum so refreshing is that they weren't just tie-ins from another Batman movie. They told completely original stories, with input from the great Paul Dini, who was one of the driving forces behind Batman the Animated Series. Speaking of which, many actors from the aforementioned show reprised their roles, including the legendary Kevin Conroy as Batman and the immortal Mark Hamill as the Joker.
Imagine sucking down that last breath knowing that Gotham is doing the same.
What are you talking about?
Meanwhile, Tara Strong went from voicing Batgirl to putting her own spin on Harley Quinn. This helped make Arkham City probably the best written and best acted Batman game ever, if not one of the best Batman properties ever.
I've gotta run, boys! If he tries anything funny, kill him!
The idea of a video game is often to make the player feel as if they've become the character they are controlling. And that's exactly what Arkham City does. The player is Batman, and not just because they have an arsenal of gadgets at their disposal. A lot of Batman projects forget that he's more than just a guy in a costume who beats up criminals. He is also a modern Sherlock Holmes, who conveniently has a few $1 billion to spend on the latest crime-fighting technology. Arkham City requires the player to think like a detective, putting an emphasis both on brains and brawn.
I see what you're doing, Batman. Come on, run this way!
Please, I give up. Look at me. I'm dropping my weapon.
The player will need a good head on their shoulders to finish every Riddler challenge and reach 100% completion. Even the boss battles go far beyond simply mashing buttons. While the brawls with Solomon Grundy and Ra's al Ghul were both highlights, it was probably Mr. Freeze who gave Bruce Wayne a run for his Bat credit.
You don't want to do this, Freeze.
Oh, I believe I do.
Unlike some boss fights who repeat the same formula without ever catching on, Freeze adapts throughout the battle and won't let Batman use the same tactic twice. This pushes the player to use every move and weapon in their repertoire in order to defeat their icy opponent. It might not be easy, but few things are more satisfying than delivering that final blow. With its rich environment, ambitious story, and clear understanding of the Batman mythos, Arkham City set a new standard for superhero games. Yet, nothing since has come close to topping the Arkham series. In fact, the other Arkham games kind of fell short. While 2015's Arkham Knight arguably delivered a satisfying conclusion, the lack of good boss battles and over-reliance on the Batmobile prevented it from reaching the same heights as its predecessor, especially if you played that PC version. In any case, Arkham City remains the greatest superhero game of all time by a very wide margin. Who knows though, perhaps someday down the line we'll finally get an awesome game centering on the Flash, Wonder Woman, or maybe even Superman. Hey, crazier things have happened. In the future, if the superhero genre is indeed bright, it's all thanks to the influence of the Dark Knight.
Oh, tight.
I'll be in touch!
Thanks for watching Mojo Plays. Be sure to subscribe and click on the link in the description below to check out our suggestion page and vote on what content you'd like to see us cover next.